Hello, welcome to Dundrol's podcast. I'm Rose Justin. Today we have another fantasy book review for you guys today. Today we're reviewing The Dragon and the George by Gordon R. Dickson. And today is St. George Day, which St. George was a Christian knight who slain a dragon. And not sure how historically accurate that is. It's a thing where, like, I remember in Catholic elementary school we learned about Saint George, but I remember learning about him, but I don't remember if that story was real or not. If it was supposed to be real or not. But yeah, I picked up this book like a few weeks ago, and I thought, I looked at that April 25th was St. George Day, so I thought, this book is only 244 pages. I can read this in time for St. George Day, and I did. And I gotta say, I liked the book, but the book is very short, and it's more of a comedy. It kind of reminded me of the Terry Pratchett Discworld books, which I haven't read those, but I watched the TV movies. I will read those eventually. Yeah, but the story for this book is it takes place in like the 70s, right? Which the book was written in 1976. And it's about this guy named Jim Eckhart, or A.K. James, who is a college student and is not a college student, a college teacher, and is broke. He's like a medieval history major, right? And him and his girlfriend are trying to, who also works at the college, River Oak, are broke. They can't even afford to move into a trailer, like a trailer, right? And it's like, man, if these people were born 50 years later, they would be making like $100,000 a year. That's how much overpaid like teachers are nowadays. But compared to back in the 70s, they were barely making like ends meet, right? So what ends up happening is that his girlfriend is an assistant to this wacky professor who is trying to experiment on astral projections. Right? He makes this machine that looks like a hair dryer at like a hair salon, and accidentally teleports Angie, Jim's girlfriend, right? And Jim has no choice but to go after her, right? But they lowered the setting, so only his mind is going to go to the world that she ended up in, which he wakes up and finds himself in the body of a dragon. And this is what the dragons look like in this world. They're basically like oversized crocodiles with wings, right? And in this world, some animals talk, some animals don't talk, which there's like a funny scene where like Jim inside Gorbosh's body, which that's the name of the dragon's body, right? Tries to talk to a badger, and like his friends, including one of his friends, is like a talking wolf. Look at him like, Jim, were you seriously trying to talk with that badger? And he's like, yeah. He's like, are you insane? Because like apparently some animals, dragons and like wolves, can talk, but pretty much every other animal doesn't talk. Right, so what ends up happening is like Jim finds himself in the body of this talking dragon. his girlfriend has been captured by the dragons, and the dragons call humans Georges because Georges are knights who go around killing dragons, right? And they live in underground caves, right, hiding from the Georges, right? And Jim is able to convince the dragons to not eat Angie, but to ransom her to the Georges for gold, because just like in Tolkien's universe, dragon here are avarice for gold, right? They're greedy for gold, but while that was going on, one of the dragons turns out to be um, working for the dark powers, right? It, and takes Angie to this to the Lofi Tower, where that you can kind of see the tower here, which is an evil tower. That's like where this world's um, there's no evil warlock in this book. You just have this um, evil essence that lives in this tower, and it it influences people to uh, do stuff for them, right? So Jim inside the new dragon, the Gorbosh's body, goes to visit a magician. The magician tells him, "Hey, before I can send you back and your girlfriend, you need to gather companions and go rescue Angela from the tower and defeat the opponents the Dark Powers have put out against you." Right? So Gorbosh, through his adventures in this book, which this book is very short, it's 244 pages, befriends Sir Brian, which is the knight there, and his horse Lancer, Danielle, who is a female archer who doesn't do much in the book, and the other characters that they befriend who become the companions are Seko, who is Mere Dragon, and Mere Dragons or Mire Dragons are weak kind of dragons, right? And he also has his grand uncle, or Gorbosh's grand uncle, who's an elderly dragon who once killed an ogre and is famous for killing an ogre, right? Other characters are Arg, who is Gorbosh's talking wolf friend. And you also have Dryfield, I don't know how to pronounce his name, who is the Welsh bowman who came to English lands to show the English how to wield an actual longbow, which the Welshman claims the Welsh invented. That's the thing about this fantasy world, is that they even though I did like this world and its fantasy characters, it's the fantasy world is basically just medieval England. Though I did like that the magic system in the book had how magic works in this book is you have to perform deeds or get paid to do said magic, and then they can perform magic, right? If not, you owe credit to the auditing department, which is this disembodied voice that once in a while talks to our characters. Which at first I was confused when the disembodied voice would talk, because I'm like, is that supposed to be somebody from our world talking to Jim, right? And Jim can kind of hear it. But no, yeah, it's just you have this disembodied voice, telling our characters what to do, right? So the final battle was pretty cool. You had our different characters had to have one-on-one battles. It was very anime-esque. It was very anime-esque. Brian had to fight a giant slug, right? Jim in Gorbosh's body had to fight an ogre, which, besides from his uncle, no dragons have killed any ogres in the last 800 years. You had the bowman, Dryfield had to fight, like, harpies, right? And, Seko and, Smeargle, which is the Gorbosh's uncle, had to fight a younger, bigger dragon, right? So you had, like, these series of one-on-one fights, and the magician really didn't have. I wouldn't say he didn't do anything, but like there was like this evil influence that his wand would push back, and if he wasn't around to push back the evil influence, it would drive our characters insane, and they would attack each other. So I don't know. I liked the book, but it's kind of slow and it's kind of slow, and it's not, the fantasy world is not that imaginative. It's basically just medieval England. Though he did you can tell that the writer did a lot of research on medieval England, including how their time system worked, how they would tell the time, because apparently noon in medieval England is called prime, and I forgot the other time, the other names for the different times. But yeah, it was. I thought, oh, that's cool. He did his research, but there's some decent action in the book, but it's not really that detailed. It was kind of cool. Like, we had a fantasy story where a human was controlling a dragon, but the dragons in this series, in this book, which I'm not sure if this is a series. I looked online and said it was a series, but there's no reference to it in the book, right? Of the other books in the series. But yeah, like the dragons in this book don't don't breathe fire. They just have their claws and their jaws, right? And our character had basically Dark Souls style battle with the ogre, where he had to duck and weave and time his attacks to when the ogre would swing his club, which reminded me of Dark Souls. So I don't know. I really like the book, but other people might find it a little bit boring. But I know I like the characters. I like the humor. The magician was probably the funniest character in this book, but he's not really in the book that much. He is in it a lot at the end, and he makes a lot of funny jokes, right? Or not. It wasn't necessarily jokes, but he was very humorous, right? So I don't know. I like the book. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I'm not sure if this book is in print, but if you see it, I would say check it out. And it's worth it for the cover alone, to be honest. This cover by Boris Vallejo is really good. I think that's how you pronounce the name. I think that's Italian. I think the guy also did the covers for the Thief World books, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So yeah, for next week's review, we're doing another dragon story. This time, we're doing Shadowrun, Secrets of Power Volume 1, Never Deal with a Dragon. Where here you see a punk rocker wizard fighting a dragon. This is written by Robert N. Charrette. This is a Shadowrun book. E.T. Temper wanted us to do a Shadowrun review, so this is the oldest Shadowrun book I have in my collection. It was the first one I picked up, and I thought, I'll review